I don't know, dude.
To be fair, I mean, I know the Gaslam fight. I know
This
the
fight
Gaslam fight.
scares me.
I know.
Hello and welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA podcast. I am Matt Anderson. On the other side of your screen, you have Dorian Rose. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just washing a little bit of salt and vinegar that I had on my lips just now. You know, I had a little tart taste, but doing good, man. And coming off the pretty good fight weekend over this past weekend, dude. I'm so pumped for this freaking pay-per-view, man. We've been texting back and forth, just talking about how excited we are. I've done made a shitload of bets, so I'm super excited, man, and glad to be here to be doing this.
I'm surprised you've already made so many bets, dude, because I would say you're
As,
usually the
as soon as
one
them
that
props drop,
yeah, I would say you're usually the one that's always telling me bro, calm down. Like you don't need to make so many. Just make a few solid ones. But you already got a whole bunch, yeah.
yeah, I probably got about 4 or 5. None that are like too big, but I had to jump in early in the week on some of the good odds because, as I told you, Driggs do play C open as an even money underdog, so I had to take advantage of that. Just a little sneak peek into who I think is going to win in that fight. I had to take advantage of that line, and there's a few lines that are a lot worse now than if you had to capitalize on Sunday. So yeah, there was a pretty good odds you could have gotten.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Before we get on talking too much, let's get into the rundown of today's show. So, just real quick, we're going to run over this past weekend's fights really quick because you know how it goes. It was this past weekend, and we really want to talk about this weekend's upcoming fights. But in between, we will be talking about, just the every week fight news, upcoming fight announcements, if you will. And then lastly, our third topic of today's show, UFC 276. Me and Dorian are going to go in depth. It's fight week. We've heard a few back and forths, but we're actually going to get into it and talk about and make our picks of who we actually think is going to win each fight, at least a few fights on the main event. We're going to talk about the full card in general. That being said, once again, please put a thumbs up on the video if you guys don't mind. But let's get into it, man. First topic of today's show, this past weekend's fights. I'm gonna let you start, man. Where do you want to get into it at? You want to start at the main card?
Yeah, we can start at the main event, man, because I was really intrigued by the fight. And I even texted you as the fight was going on. I think it was probably like in the third or the fourth round. It was about one of those rounds, and I texted you. I said, "Man, even though this isn't a war, I said, dude, this is such a good fight. Like, this is such a fun fight to watch right now because both the guys super technical. This is such a good matchup between with the matchmakers too, as far as how both their skill sets sort of played into one another, and they both have a similar skill set as Gamrot and Tsarukyan does. And I actually thought Tsarukyan was the favored going into the fight, and I did think that after the 5 rounds, I thought that Tsarukyan had won. But overall, it was a really good fight. I thought it was a really good test of where this 155 division is, and I think a main event like that. I know a lot of people were scratching their heads about, hey, why is Tsarukyan and Gamrot main event show on ESPN when these dudes are unproven lightweights? But I think that's part of the reason why that the UFC wanted to give them a main event like that, because it's to showcase that, hey, there are those top names at 155 like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier and guys like that. But this division is so just rich and full of talent, and I think that main event this past weekend was a really good showcase of it. But overall, my thoughts, I thought that Tsarukyan won 3 rounds of 2. I thought the swing round was the 4th round because I thought that that's when Tsarukyan had honestly his best work, and I thought that he had landed more strikes. He got wrestled a little bit and controlled, but I thought throughout most of the exchanges that Tsarukyan had the better of the exchanges, and he landed more. So I thought that he had won, but I'm not going to cry robbery because Gamrot did. You can see that he wore on Tsarukyan's gas tank there in the 5th round. But it was a really good fight overall. And yeah, I'm glad that that was the main event, because even though it wasn't the knockdown slug out war, it was a super technical fight, but it was a super fun fight to watch.
Fair enough. Me personally, I didn't think it wasn't deserving like to be the main event. I just thought it was too soon like for them to be matched up. Like I think like each of them probably should have fought like one person higher than them in the rankings, but they were kind of like right there, right, kind of like neck and neck, if you will. I just thought it was an odd fight to make so soon, but I pretty much thought like the same as you. I thought Armin won. Honestly, thought that he won 4 rounds out of the 5. I really didn't think the Gamrot won that fight, but once again, it was super close. I didn't think it was a robbery either, but each round super close. I just thought Armin had won it. I'm not beating my drum like robbery like or anything like that, but yeah. That being said, great fight to good fight to both fighters. Hell of a fight. They were scrambling like crazy. As you said, just a good vision of what's to come in the future of the lightweight division. Just killers, man. Just killers. So let's move down to the main event, dude. Shavkat, the Nomad Rachmanov, pretty much obliterating Neil Magny. I almost feel like he probably could have done that in the first round if he wanted to, but it's almost like he gives everyone a round. He gives everyone a chance. Like, hey, I'm gonna give you a chance. Do what you need to do. Round 2, you ain't getting out of it. And sure enough, round 2, Shavkat Rachmanov finish as usual, man. You called it actually. You said by sub. This was our one of our like lonely picks on here that we picked the same, but you called it specifically. You called it Shavkat by sub, man. Talk to me here. What do you think happened?
Man, and I'll tell you, Shavkat's actually one of these guys I'm really behind, and it's because these last couple fights, his fight against Michelle Pazerish, and now this fight against Neil Magny, his submission odds are so good, but he's got 4 wins in the UFC, and 3 of them are by submission. So his odds at that I was able to get early in the week were Shavkat Rakhmonov by submission at plus 480. But the guy's just he's so dangerous. Just everywhere the fight goes, you can see that Neil Magny, when the fight was standing, he kept trying to get in range with his 1-2, and Shavkat just kept throwing that check left hook. But it was so fast that Neil Magny couldn't find a way around it. And as soon as he goes to throw that little teep kick, Shavkat catches it, gets him down. And honestly, his ground and pound might be the best. I don't want to say in the sport, definitely up there as far as one of the best ground and pound artists in the game, because his ground and pound is brutal. And
He for
his
sure has the best standing GMP. That's the way I thought it had to. Like that, I thought it was going to finish like that, and he was just beating them like a drum too.
Well, dude, he's got like the old school type of ground and pound where like he sits on dudes and just wings punches. Where a lot of guys, Habib, he'll hold one hand down and he'll throw the hammer fist, or he'll throw one hand while he's controlling. Shavkat literally uses his hips, holds the guy down, and throws both of his hands at the same time. So it's just hard to try to block all of it, and it's just so much pressure. And you can just tell that choke was so tight, man. And as soon as he was able to kind of sit back on that guillotine, you could see that Neil Magny, he wanted to get out of it. And his corner was yelling, 10 seconds left, 10 seconds, because they wanted him to get through. But 2 seconds left, and he ended up tapping out. And crazy that you don't see Neil Magny dominated like that. So it just goes to show where the level that Shavkat Rakhmonov is at right now as far as his talent. And dude, he's only going to get better. And 16 wins, 16 finishes. This dude, he's gonna be fighting for a title here soon. No doubt about it.
Yeah. All right. That being said, we're going to talk about the feature fight of the night just real quick where I am. It was an awful fight, if you ask me. Dorian picked Josh Parisian, so he did get this one correct. But I got to be honest, at the end of round 1, dude, how awful was it? They were both completely gassed. I was like, what is this? I know this one busted a parlay for you, so it might hurt your feelings just a little, just a tad. But man, I don't feel like either one of these guys would be anyone top 10 in the UFC if their life depended on it, man.
No, well, I just thought that it was honestly Alan Boudreaux, he just kind of fight how I kind of thought how he would fight. He ended up going out there landing a few strikes. He always looks impressive, but then always either tends to gas or he just ends up just taking a step back and almost letting the fighter come to him. And it was as soon as he ended up gassing out after he had dropped Parisian, Parisian got up and just kept going for these super sloppy takedowns. But Boudreaux just kept getting backed up to the fence, getting dropped, and Parisian was getting a little annoying when he kept looking at the ref trying to beg for a stoppage. It was like, dude, you're barely punching him with some of those shots. But there in the second round, it was just clear both of them were tired, and Boudreaux just wanted no more, and Parisian was able to get the dub, similar to what I thought, just because Boudreaux, man, he's got all the talent in the world, but it just seems like he just can't put it together, unfortunately.
Indeed, man. The next one, the one that you got wrong that I got right, I'm gonna let you talk about it, man.
Well, I mean, honestly, there isn't really too much to talk about except for Thiago Moises. His back takes are crazy. Like as soon as he got Giago's back up to the fence, as soon as he ended up jumping up, he got that body triangle on his back. You could see that Giagos was going to be sitting there for a while. He was not going to be able to get Moises off, and Moises just kept working and working for that choke. And then finally, he ended up getting the arm underneath the neck, and Giagos goes to fight the other locking hand off, and Moises pushes him off and is able to get his hand wrapped around his own elbow and crank his own elbow on Giago's neck. It was a thing of beauty. So Moises, I was saying he was losing a little bit of steam, but that was a good win for him to kind of get back on track.
With the bear hug rear naked choke. Like I saw that, I was like, dude, what is this? It's like he was just like, come on. Bear
But
hug
dude, he's got some.
RNC.
He's got some. Hey, dude, he's got some arms on him though. So I'm imagining, and his jiu-jitsu is crazy. That probably did not feel good. Him getting strangled like that.
Indeed. One that me and you were both correct on, if you will, but Umar wins via decision. Me and you both called it, dude. Nate Maness is rather tough. Dorian's ESPN is saying what's up too. But Nate Maness, dude, tough as all hell. What about this one, man?
Yeah, Nate Maness, true G, man. And there was a lot of points in that fight where, some of those guys who they get taken down by the Nurmagomedovs, they just end up folding under the pressure. But Nate Maness wasn't going to fold under any type of pressure. So we knew that he was super tough. But Umar, that dude, he is going to be a problem. And his striking, he's a little bit more well-rounded than what Habib was. And his kicks, that little up kick that he threw was nasty, man. And he's only getting better by each fight. I think he's ranked like 15 now. There's going to be a lot of guys that are up there in the rankings that aren't going to want any piece of this dude whatsoever. I'm going to imagine that it's going to be hard for him to find some matchmaking here in the future.
Fair enough. So we will move down to another one that me and you were split on. I was saying Rodolfo Vieira is going to sub Chris Curtis pretty much in the same way that Thiago Moises sub Christoph Giagos. It looks like I just foreseen the wrong fight happening there. Chris Curtis ended up getting it done by decision, but you said Chris Curtis was going to knock him out. What impressed you about Rodolfo Vieira in this fight, if you will, before you just start talking about how right you were that Chris Curtis was going to win?
No, I'll say the two things that surprised me the most is his striking definitely looked a lot more involved. He was throwing some pretty good right hands against Chris Curtis, and there were even moments there because you're a Vieira fan. I'm a Chris Curtis fan, so there were a couple of times where Rodolfo was landing some big right hands, and it looked like it was going to hurt Chris Curtis there for a minute, but Chris Curtis's chin is just granite. But his boxing looked good. His kicks still looked a little bit looked like they still might need some work, but his hands looked a lot better. And honestly, his toughness, dude, because those were some hellacious shots that he was taking. And I think Chris Curtis even said that he ran into Rodolfo Vieira in the back. I listened to his post-fight press conference, and he said that Rodolfo Vieira told him that he ended up getting hit with a body shot in the third round, and in the second round. It was right at the end of the second round. He said he hit him with, and he almost fell. And he said he did not want to fall because he said that he wasn't a quitter. That wasn't what he was going to do. So, you take the Fluffy Hernandez performance into account, where people said that Adolfo Vieira quit. And then you turn into this fight where he's eating some big shots, but he's standing in there and he's taking the abuse, and he's going right back at it. It just seems like he just goes in every time for the takedowns, and it just seems like if he can't get the takedown, he just ends up gassing himself out every time. And Chris Curtis's takedown defense was lights out. I think he defended 20 takedowns against a guy who, if he gets you on the ground at any moment, it's over. And there were a couple of times where he was able to kind of pull guard against Chris Curtis, and Chris Curtis was still able to get out of his guard and get back up as well. So I just thought it was a very well-rounded performance from Chris Curtis. And dude, you know how I am with the body work. His body work is probably the best in the middleweight division. Man, them hooks and straights that he throws like I do on UFC 4, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, indeed, man. Good fight overall. Adolfo Vieira he's improved his gas tank a lot, because in the Fluffy fight, dude, it was just god awful. And I'm so glad that he has fucking fixed those issues, because if not, dude, I could see that happening over and over again. But it looks like improving slowly, but a monster if he gets you on the ground. But interested, I'd like to see who he gets matched up from here. But that being said, that is the main card. That was all the fights that we picked on. So let me just go over the prelims real quick. I do want to talk about this one. Carlos Ulberg knocks out Tafon Chukli, round 115. Shailin Norton Becky beats TJ Brown via decision. Sergey Morozov beats Halion Paiva via decision. Cody Durbin crushes JP Buys round 1. Mario Bautista submits Brian Boom Kelleher round 1. And Vanessa, the stripper Demopoulos, defeats Jinyu Fry in what I don't want to call it a robbery, but I was like, what the hell were the judges watching there? I thought Jinyu Fry won that fight, but that's just me. Hops in the Count's arms after, and I was like, wow, I didn't want to see this, man. I didn't want to see this, but she ends up getting the split decision win over Jinyu Fry, man. So let's talk about the Carlos Ulberg versus Tafon the Don Chukli fight real quick, dude. I just watched it. Dude, do you know that was the first head punch that he threw that entire fight? Every single punch was to the liver, to the liver, to the liver. And that one, it was like fake to the liver, like looping hook. It was like a Superman, or not a Superman punch, a fucking question mark punch. And I was like, dude, that is nuts. He like kept tagging him, jab to the body, jab to the body, jab to the body. And the first punch that he did not throw the body, Tafon Chukli went to parry it down, and he looped it over the top and caught him with the hook, and it was pretty much game over from there, dude. You picked Carlos Ulberg here, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So just talk to me about it for just a second before we move on to the next topic, and I'll get the fight news pulled up.
Yeah, well, I just thought that Carlos Ulberg, I thought the size advantage one was going to play in his favor, and man, you could just see like the size and reach, just played in his favor so much going into the fight. I didn't think it was going to end as quickly as it did. Seeing that Carlos Ulberg landed that big hand, I mean, it was so quick that when it landed, I thought it was a jab. I thought it was a jab, and I was like, man, he hurt Tafon Chukwu with a jab. But Carlos Ulberg, he throws hands like almost like he's like a welterweight or a lightweight. Like when he has somebody hurt, like dude, his hand speed is crazy fast. Like he almost, to me, his hand speed is comparable to like how Michael Johnson is at lightweight when Michael Johnson is cooking. Like, dude, his hand speed, Michael Johnson is crazy, but Carlos Oldberg, when he gets somebody hurt, his hand speed is nuts, and it's hard to defend a lot of the shots, even if they aren't the most powerful. Just the speed alone, you can't see the shots when they're coming, and if he's hitting you with that much velocity, I mean, dude, he's going to be hurting some dudes at light heavyweight. He was able to stay out of the way of any shots. I don't even think he really took any damage outside of what, maybe like a jab or a leg kick or something like that. But yeah, other than that, he really didn't take too much damage. So clean performance overall. And Carlos Oldberg, I think he's definitely going to be a problem for the division. And he's still getting his feet wet in mixed martial arts too. He's 7-1 in mixed martial arts, so he's still getting the feel for everything. But he's such an experienced kickboxer. I think he's going to be able to hold his own.
His chin worries me just a little bit, dude. I have to be honest. Like, if he's able to get cracked like he has been, dude, imagine, dude, he fights at 205. There's some people that hit at 205. It's like, I don't know. Maybe possibility. I'm not sold personally, if you will. So that being said, let's move on to the fight news, our next topic of today's show. So this is all the fight news since last week's show. Right after we got off the show, like last week, dude, this was announced that Cowboy Cerrone was going to be taking on Jim Miller. Moved on to this week's card, dude. So pretty much quick turnaround for Cowboy, but we'll talk about it. Moving on down, Loma Lukbumi taking on Diana Belbita. That is September 17th. Melissa Gatto taking on Jillian Robertson on September 17th. Irene Aldana taking on Macy Chasson on September 10th. One that I don't know how I feel, dude. Michael Johnson taking on Jamie Malarkey, added to the July 9th fight night. Jamie Pickett taking on Abdul Razak Al Hassan. No. Hold on. No. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is out. He would now face Dennis Tululin. My bad. I apologize. One that I am a fan of, I believe Alex Moreno is going to get crushed, but he is taking on the Jedi, Matthew Simmelsberger, dude. Matthew Simmelsberger hits like a fucking truck, dude. And then one that we talked about, I sent it to you. We can't wait for this one. Gregory Rodriguez taking on Chidi Njokuani.
Yeah.
And I believe that looks like that might be one that was recently announced 3 days ago. Jared Van Der taking on Chase Sherman, dude. I thought Chase Sherman was going to get cut again after the Alexander Romanov fight, but it looks like they're giving him a few more opportunities. I bet whoever loses that fight, they get cut though. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But Chase Sherman always seems to find his way out of the UFC and then find his way back into the UFC. So who knows? He could leave for a little bit, but then they need a card to fill, so they just signed him last second.
Pretty much that's how it works, man. But that's going to be a tough one. One that you were like, damn, I don't know who to go for was the Chidi versus I was at the Gregory Rodriguez fight. Just talk to me about that one for just a second while I get the next week's card pulled up.
Man, I think that's going to be a super good fight because, you know, going into the Gregory Rodriguez and Julian Marquez fight, you know, we were talking about Gregory Rodriguez, and I said, you know, he's a super talented fighter. He just tends to get in brawls sometimes, and he leaves his chin out there, and he kind of gets away from being disciplined. So I said, if he plays a game of Marquez, you know, he's going to get put out, and we all seen what happened there. He was able to put Marquez out, no problem. Now I think the thing with Chidi Njokuani and Gregory Rodriguez, Chidi Njokuani is a much more technical striker, and that dude, he does not play when he comes in there. I mean, he's coming to take your head off. I think both of his performances in the UFC, both of his fights, have not exited the first round. I think the other one was like, what, about 15 seconds? The other one, I think it might have went a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So, he does not play when it comes to his power. As soon as he lands, he puts dudes out immediately. But it's a matchup of fireworks because if Gregory Rodriguez goes in there, kind of plays like that against Chidi, and he's able to kind of take them shots, man, that is going to be fireworks.
I believe someone's going out in that fight for sure, man. So that being said, that is
probably
the
in the first round.
I know, man. That is the fight news for this week. So let's talk about the meat and potatoes, what everyone came to see. This upcoming weekend's card, UFC 276, Israel Adesanya versus Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier, man. This is pretty much the best card, I guess, on paper we've seen all year, stacked from top to bottom, dude. Bangers all the way through. We did have one fight fall out. The junkyard dog, as we call her, Lauren Murphy, taking on the cupcake, Misha Tate. But that is moved. Is it next week's fight card, or is it the week after? Anyway, it's the UFC Long Island card. It's going to be on there. So only moved back just a few weeks. But that being said, we still got a stacked card, a complete banger. Main card, real quick, Izzy taking on Jared Cannonier, Alexander Volkanovski. The third one taking on Max Holloway, not the third Alexander Volkanovski, but the third fight between the two. Sean Strickland taking on Alex Pereira in the feature bout of the night. Robbie Lawler taking on Brian Bam Bam Barberina. Is it still Brian Bam Bam Barberina, or has he changed it now? Okay, just making sure. Bam Bam. And opening up the main card, dude. You see the hoodie, the Sugar Show taking on, in his words, Prelim Pedro, dude. He finally made it to the main card. Let's see if he can stay away. In the prelims, dude, Jalen the Tarantula Turner taking on Brad Riddell, man. Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone. I feel like that should, I don't know if it should be on the main card, but I feel like it should have some sort of like notice put on it. I don't know if it should be like the main event of the prelims or not, but I don't know how I feel about its placement. Ian Gary taking on Gabe Green, Brad Tavares taking on Drekus Duplessis, and the early prelims, dude. We got early prelims for this pay-per-view. On the early prelims, dude, we got Uriah Hall taking on Andre Muniz, Jessica I and Macy Barber going at it, and opening up the card as a whole, JRC, Jessica Rose Clark taking on Julia Stoliarenko, dude. So stacked top to fucking bottom, dude. We have an absolute banger of a card. If there's one card that is worth your money, it is this one, dude. Do not stream this one. I don't care who you are. You want a solid, clear view this week. It's going to be excellent fights all the way through. Let's start, man. Where do you want to tee off from?
I guess I gotta represent the shirt too.
Is this an Izzy shirt? Say, I can't really tell. Okay,
yeah. So it's when he defeated Brunson, and he kind of did the little dance on Brunson.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So
how long did you wait on that shirt?
Only about 6 months, so not too long. So
the UFC store,
thank you UFC store.
Pristine for their shipping times.
yes. Thank you UFC store. I finally got it by about a half a year, so yeah, I appreciate it. But
what you have to do is you have to order the shirt like before one fight for his next fight. That's what you have to do.
Well, dude, it was like I went to order the shirt for the Robert Whittaker fight, so I ordered it literally like in like the end of January, and the fight was I think like the end of February, and I didn't end up getting it until like the beginning of March. So I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I even tried to order it like a month out just so I could make sure I had it, and I still didn't even end up having it. So, yeah, pretty salty about them. But no, man, I'd like to start with the main event just because I think that's what that's what the main show is. And I know that we were kind of having some talks about it last night. And for me, I think there's going into this matchup, I think that Israel, he's a lot more juiced up for this matchup. I think just the freshness of the matchup, his last two fights were rematches, and I listened to one of the interviews that he had done. And just a side note, real quick, Izzy does a lot of good content on his YouTube channel. So if you guys aren't subscribed to or don't check it out by any means, even if you aren't just the biggest fan of Izzy, just because he does interviews with other fighters like Brad Riddell and Alexander Volkanovski, and him and his friends, they do breakdowns and cards of the stuff as well. So really good YouTube channel. But no, I heard him doing an interview, and he said that in the Vittori fight, in his last fight, he had noticed kind of halfway through that he was getting bored during the fight. And honestly, you could see there were moments. I went back and seen some of the highlights in the fight. You can see there were moments in the fight where he's kind of just standing there almost as if he's just like, and just here, just earned a paycheck and just trying to get out of here. And he knew that Marvin didn't really pose a threat. He's kind of called Jared Cannonier out for a little bit now, as far as trying to call him the dark horse of the division, kind of boost him up. Of course, you know, the Whitaker loss for Cannonier set him back a couple fights, but he came back with the Gaslam performance, and then the Derek Brunson performance, you know, put Brunson out. You know, obvious title contention fight right there. So Jared Cannonier, he's only lost to Robert Whitaker in the division, deserving of the title shot. But man, I think Izzy's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to come out with a little bit of something to prove. And man, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think there's a good chance that Izzy knocks him out early.
It could definitely happen. Dude, something about this fight scared me, man. I just don't know what it is, but I am a fan of Izzy. I hope he wins. How can you not like him as a fight fan? But something about this fight, it's just like Izzy's so confident, and it's like, dude, Jared Cannonier, dude, carries those like fucking rocks around with him, dude. Any person that carries around rocks with him, dude, they are liable to do anything, dude. You don't know. They might have some special powers. This might be the night that Jared Cannonier is able to encrust one of those fucking rocks into the UFC belt, and maybe and new, dude. I really hope that Izzy wins, dude, but I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't terrified about this fight, dude. This so much so that it's not in my parlays, dude, or it's not in many of my parlays. It's just something about this fight is just throwing me off just a little bit, and it's just scaring me away. I hope Izzy wins. I think Izzy wins. He should win, but dude, Jared Cannonier, dude, he has power to put anyone out from fucking middleweight all the way up to heavyweight, dude. And I'm not counting them out, dude. The Killer Gorilla, as you said, dude, the dark horse of the division. It could happen. I'm going to be rooting for Izzy. I'm going to pick Izzy officially, dude, but I don't feel good about it. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, so I think one of the things for Jared Cannonier, because he's had, multiple iterations in the UFC, as you said, he's fought at heavyweight, he's fought at light heavyweight, he's kind of had different levels of how he's kind of fought, and here in this later version of himself at middleweight, one of the things that he tends to do to kind of establish the fight is to establish the pressure, and he makes sure that he's in front of his opponent at all times. Even Brunson, who's Derek Brunson, heavy wrestler, we know the type of fighter that Derek Brunson is, and Jared Cannonier knew to put the forward pressure on him. Even Robert Whitaker, in that fight, he was putting a lot of forward pressure on him. Robert Whitaker was just making him pay. And I think that, if you kind of take that fight into consideration, I think if Robert Whitaker was able to make Jared Cannonier pay with some of the risks that he was taking, trying to get the big shot, I just got to think probably the best counter striker in the UFC in Izzy. Man, I just think that he's going to have something for him for that forward pressure. I just think all the, the leg kicks and stuff like that, it all just sets up everything as he works. And I think for the forward pressure for Jared Cannonier, that's what's for him going to be the key to success. But I also think that's what is going to be able to help Izzy set up his traps, set up his counters. And I think we could look at a similar finish, similar to how he finished Robert Whitaker, how, he let Whitaker lunge in with the hook, evades back and lands a big hook of his own, I think we could see a similar finish like that, because Jared Cannonier is one of those guys. He's not going to back down from anybody. He's going to continue to do his thing. I just think that that's the perfect recipe for Izzy to have a spectacular performance.
It may be, man. It may be. I just think just this year, just in general, dude, like all the and news that we've heard, dude, it's just like it could happen again. And it's just like this year altogether, it's been just these close fights that you're like, dude, I don't know who's gonna fucking win this fight at the end of the night. And just we've seen just crazy shit happen all year. And it's just like I just have this tickle, dude. How much would it like surprise you if Jared Cannonier just landed a hook and just fucking put him out? Because it almost seems like every single time, like the UFC is, I guess, like trying to set up this perfect fight to happen. And we'll talk about it. Alex Pereira is right there, one fight away, dude. They're so close to making this fight happening, dude. And this fight here can absolutely fucking ruin it, dude. So I don't know, dude. It's just scaring me just a little bit.
Yeah, man. I just think I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I guess in theory, I would be surprised if Jared Cannonier was to come away with like a big knockout or something like that. I'm not saying that he's not incapable or that he's not capable of doing it. I'm just saying that I think for the way that Izzy fights, he's very much so of the hit and don't get hit club. He is, he doesn't really like to take too much damage. He really likes to have the clean performances overall. We've seen him get in wars before, but that's not his particular style. He more likes to get in, get out. I think Jared Cannonier, I just think, just with the way that I've seen him fight here recently, he's just been so super aggressive. And I mean, just the way he was kind of able to ragdoll Brunson. And if you go back even in that fight, like, dude, he walked down Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson dropped him at the end of that first round. So, I mean, I know that, Jared Cannonier, he's super tough, but if Derek Brunson was able to drop him at the end of that first round, gotta think if his forward pressure was reckless enough to get him dropped against Derek Brunson, his forward pressure got him dropped against Robert Whitaker. Izzy's gonna set him up for some problems. I don't know exactly how it's going to be done. It could be a head kick, it could be a crazy hook or something like that. But I just think with his forward pressure, I'm just going to set up into one of Izzy's traps, and I can see Izzy just putting him away.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on down to the co-main event. Alexander Volkanovski taking on Max Holloway. I guess we've kind of talked about this like a little bit off camera. Dude, me and you, both Max fans. I've picked against Volkanovski pretty much every damn fight besides his last fight. I fucking picked Max last time. I picked Ortega, dude, and it's like, dude, Volk just keeps proving me wrong, dude. I gotta go Volk this time. He just seems to be so good coming from that camp with the champion at fucking 185 Izzy. They're all three there fighting on the same card, training like together. Like they had a few teammates fight last week, dude. Just a massive camp altogether of just super talented fighters. Max, on the other hand, don't count his team out either. He has a great team as well. It's just like they're just a little bit more unknown, like a little bit less in the spotlight, if you will. Do you think that Max can change up his game plan enough this time to take out Volk, man?
Well, I'll tell you that I know you said that you doubted Volkanovski along the way. I'll tell you the only person that I've ever really doubted him against was Max Holloway, and I've doubted him against him twice. And I thought in that second fight, I did think on the first watch, I thought that Max Holloway had won. Going back, I've seen it. I'm not Luke Thomas. I have not watched it 50 times. I've only watched
49.
it. Yeah, right. I couldn't remember exactly how many, but if you go back and watch, I can see how that third round is the swing round for the judges, because Volkanovski was able to put a little bit more pressure on him. But I thought the first time that Max Holloway won. I could see the argument for Volkanovski upon the second watch, but man, I think that Volkanovski, after that second Max loss, he had the performance against Ortega, you know, outside that third round, I mean, pretty much, or actually outside the beginning of the third round, because the beginning of the third round, he was in trouble. But at the end of the third round, he had Brian Ortega on skates. He has just been a man on a mission. And I do think that he wants to try to prove the doubters wrong. And when I remember we had talked about him going into the last fight against Zombie, I told you, I said, dude, he came out during those weigh-ins and he was super aggressive. And I was like, I have not seen Volkanovski that aggressive before. And look what he was able to do against Zombie with that chip on his shoulder. Love Max. Max is one of my favorite all-time fighters. I'm actually still rooting for him going into the fight. But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't see, if Max couldn't win that second one, unless he knocks Volk out. Volk's too tough. He's super technical, and I just don't see how he loses after fighting and beating Max 2 times previously. Having that confidence and having the confidence coming off his last performance, he's got to think that Volkanovski is going to be able to get the dub.
Yeah, I agree with you, but don't get it twisted though. Max all week saying that he's been upping his strength and conditioning, and a lot of people forget, dude, he dropped Volk twice in that last
fight. He dropped
fight.
him with a head kick in the first round and uppercut in the second round. Yeah, he dropped him twice. Yeah,
I don't care what any of the fucking shit says, he didn't get dropped or whatever. Volk got dropped 2 times in that last fight. I thought fucking Max actually fucking won the last fight, but that's just me. So if he can do it with that, I believe with the improved strength and conditioning, it's possible that Max Holloway can get it done. But I have to be smart here. I have to go Volk. He's so damn good. Alexander Volkanovski for the win, probably by decision, if you ask me as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I mean, I'm not here to say that Max isn't a tough fighter. And like I thought the last fight, I thought that he won, but obviously Volkanovski was able to do enough for the judges to be able to give him the nod. And I think, coming off that Zombie performance, he's got so much of a chip on his shoulder. Now, Max is coming off the 2 performances against Rodriguez and Cater, so we know what he's capable of doing, especially that Cater performance. That's a performance of a lifetime, that fight was. So we know that Max is the OG, never been dropped in the UFC before, so we know the type of toughness that he's going to bring to the fight. I just think that in his fights with Volkanovski, it just seems like he's always been a step behind. And I just think the Volkanovski is going to be able to stay a step ahead of him and probably edge out another decision win.
Fair enough. Max is going for the finish, though. He said it won't need more than 3 rounds. I guess we'll see, man. Let's move on down to the feature fight of the night. You said this one scares you, man. Sean Strickland taking on Alex Pereira. Talk to me, man. Why does this one scare you? Because I personally think Alex Pereira is probably going to knock him out. What's up, man?
Oh, well, no. Well, honestly, the thing that's more scaring me is the potential matchup of Alex Pereira against Izzy, because again, watching a video on Izzy's YouTube channel, he seems to be kind of looking ahead to the fight as well. And he said he was focused on the task at hand because he understands the potency that Jared Cannonier brings, but he was talking about all the things that he had wanted to do after he knocked out Alex Pereira. So he's definitely anticipating that fight. But I think that the matchup with Alex Pereira and Izzy is scary because Izzy's obviously lost to him twice. But I think for Alex Pereira, man, the only reason why the matchup with Sean Strickland scares me is Sean Strickland, we've seen him fight. Dude's so freaking tough. What is he? He's 25-3 in the UFC. He doesn't really lose all that. He doesn't really lose all that often, except for either to good dudes or he either gets caught with a clean punch, and that was with him down at 170. When he wasn't, he didn't have as much of a chin because his weight was dropped a little bit more. Up at 185, he's been super durable. Dude's a tank. He could take a shot. He can give a shot. He's strong. He's not the best striker, but he's very his basics are very technical. So I think like his boxing is very technical. You know, he's got a good defense. He does this like little shield thing where he has his arm kind of crossing over his body, almost protecting his chin and his body at the same time as he keeps his jab hand sort of down at his belly. So he almost keeps himself pretty much protected at all time. He's got really good defense. And I think that honestly, he's going to pose some threats to Alex Pereira, because Alex Pereira, you know, he fought Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's a big puncher, and Andre Michailidis, but this is a big jump up for him in talent and experience wise in the UFC. And I think that if Sean Strickland plays it smart, as much as people probably don't want to hear it, I think that Sean Strickland probably actually rides out with the decision if he's able to fight the smart fight. I think the thing for him is he going to be able to stay disciplined enough to fight the smart fight?
Is that your official pick, man? Are you going Strickland in this fight?
I am. I'm going Sean Strickland in the fight.
All right, man. All right. I don't think I think Alex Pereira is going to turn it up round 2, probably get him out of there early round 2, maybe even like later round 2. I don't see this going into round 3. I don't think that Sean's going to try to wrestle him just because he's an idiot, if you will. Like he's not very smart. I feel like he's probably going to try to kickbox Alex Pereira and get knocked out, because that's the type of guy fucking Sean Strickland is. That being said, dude, let's move on down to 2 old heads, if you will. 2 old bangers. One tough as old leather, involved in like one of your favorite fights of all time, taking on the ruthless one, Robbie Lawler, Brian Barberena, dude. Who do you got here? I believe we're probably going the same way here, Brian Barberena, but talk to me as to what you think is going to happen here.
Man, I think this matchup, I think it's a super good matchup. And, you know, a lot of people are, I think a lot of people are giving Robbie Lawler the edge in the fight. I think it's because of him coming off the performance against Nick Diaz, and Nick Diaz was coming off, you know, the long layoff that he did, you know, was going to be at 170. Then he switched his mind last second and said 85, and Robbie Lawler kind of just rolled with the punches then. But I think the biggest thing for him when he was on the losing streak to like Colby and RDA and Neil Magny and all those guys was he just wasn't really super aggressive. I thought in the Nick Diaz fight, he came out and was immediately trying to swing and take Nick's head off. So for Robbie Lawler fans, you know, that's good to see from him. And just a side note for him as well, he's also involved in one of my favorite fights of all time with him and Rory McDonald, the second one. Man, that fight was absolutely nuts, and that's still one of my favorite fights of all time. But he's very capable of getting in those types of fights. He had a little bit more of he stepped on the gas a little bit more in the Nick Diaz fight. I think for Brian Barberena, I just think he's a little bit younger. I think he's going to be a little bit quicker on the feet. And I think that, you know, he is willing to take one to give one. So there is a chance Robbie Lawler big puncher that he could catch him with a big one and put him out. But I think Brian Barberena, he doesn't really have the power, but he really, if you don't put him out early, he will continue to eat the shots, but he wears on your gas tank because he just constantly throws 1-2s. He gets you in the clinch. He throws nasty elbows. He throws knees. He throws knees to the body. He throws some good body jabs. I think that he's going to be able to wear on Robbie Lawler's gas tank. I think this has fight of the night written all over it. I mean, I'm just going to call it right now. This is going to be the fight of the night right here. So if y'all want to, you know, get your popcorn ready for that fight, I tell you to do so. But yeah, I think Brian Barberena is going to be able to ride off with a decision.
It could be fight of the night, man, but just the way that this card is stacked, dude, I don't know. I'm not calling anything like that right off the top, dude, because this whole shit, these shits could be complete bangers all the way through top to bottom, man.
The only thing I'm telling you is that you can go back to all of Brian Barberena's fights, and I cannot find one boring fight within all those, and every one was either fight of the night of some sort or performance of the night. It was some sort of mixture of that with Brian Barberena. The dude's a bonus machine. And he goes in there, and whether he wins or loses, he bites down and goes for it. You've seen in his Matt Brown win, late in that third round, him and Matt Brown are just slugging for the fences against each other. And that's just how he fights. He fights like that all the time. And every fight he's in, I get cold chills at the end of the fight. So yeah, he is absolutely one of those guys. He comes in and he's slugging, kill or be killed. And this definitely has, for me, it has fight of the night written all over it.
Fair enough. So we will talk about the fight that opens up the main card. We got the young Punisher taking on the Sugar Show, man. You already know who I'm rocking with here. I got the hoodie on. The Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley, dude. I think fucking O'Malley has this, dude. He's so much quicker. He's faster. His footwork is literally elite. He's a sniper. He's so much quicker. One thing that I can look back on that gives me this opinion just right off the top of my head, like fucking Pedro Munoz's last fight, I would say not exactly the same style because O'Malley's like fucking footwork and like fucking Dom Cruz's footwork is different, but they both have decent footwork. Pedro Munoz round one was able to get in on Cruz, but personally I thought Cruz looked a little bit slower in that fight than he normally does. But at the end of the night, Dom Cruz ended up getting like the decision over Pedro Munoz. That being said, dude, if you can't finish an older Dom Cruz with not as good footwork, O'Malley is pretty much going to stunt on fucking Pedro Munoz. I'm not saying he does finish him, but if he does finish him, it's not going to surprise me at all, dude, because Pedro Munoz tends to plot forward and just wing. He does have power. He could get Sean O'Malley out of there. I know everyone's like, oh, he's going to leg kick him. He's going to leg kick him. Bro, I'm done. I'm done here. I'm done hearing that shit. Like that happened one fucking time, dude. One time. And aside from that, I don't want to hear it, dude. Fucking Sean O'Malley, maybe late knockout, not early. I don't think it's early. If he gets it done, it'll be late. And if not, Sugar Show by decision is the way to go. What do you think happens here, man?
I think it's a super fun matchup, and I know you pretty much covered most of it, but just for me, I do think that Sean O'Malley is going to be able to win. I do, for me, for Pedro Munoz, the reason why I would caution you is because Dominic Cruz, I know you keep saying that, if he couldn't finish a Dominic Cruz, and you're making it as a negative towards Pedro Munoz, but Dominic Cruz isn't a guy that gets finished, and he got finished by Henry Cejudo. You could make the argument that was a little bit of an early stoppage. Outside of that, Dominic Cruz, we've seen the fight against Cody Garbrandt that he had, and how many times did Cody drop him and he wasn't able to finish him? So I don't want to sit here and make it seem like Dominic Cruz is just a punching bag that can be finished easily.
That was a while, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like Dominic Cruz is out here getting finished for shits and giggles. He's one of the top guys of the sport. So I don't want to sit here and say that because Pedro Munoz lost to Dominic Cruz that it's a negative mark against him. I mean, Cruz is one of the best of all time.
I'm saying if you can get him early like that and he's still able to outclass you like the other two rounds with strictly footwork, O'Malley's footwork is better than Cruz's footwork. I don't think he's even going to come close to him.
Well, he's going to have such a hard time
getting in on him. That's my thing is he's probably not even going to be able to get in on him, dude, because O'Malley's footwork is just so good.
So the only reason why I remember this fight is because I won some money on it because I had Dominic Cruz by decision. But in that fight, the reason why he ended up getting hurt by Pedro Munoz was because he went to blitz in with a shot. Pedro Munoz actually dropped him with a jab. and he fell forward on his face, and he was able to get back up. But the reason why Pedro Munhoz was able to catch him was because Dominic Cruz stepped into the shot. I think a lot of Sean O'Malley's striking is a lot of counter striking, similar to Izzy. And I think he waits for his opponents to step in a little bit more than he does put the pressure on. Not that he's not capable of it, but when he's fighting at his best, it's kind of when he's backing up and setting up his shots. I do think that Pedro Munhoz's chin is super tough, but he does have heavy hands. And one of the things that Sean O'Malley does like to do that I've seen in some of his fights when he gets backed up against the fence, he does tend to kind of roll his punches a little bit. He'll sort of tend to like bend and roll. If he leaves his neck open by any means, I mean, Pedro Munhoz has the most guillotines in bantamweight division history, I'm pretty sure. So if he leaves his neck open by any extent like that, Pedro Munhoz is very dangerous to get a submission just about anywhere. He does have heavy hands and he's got good leg kicks. So it's not a bad because some people say that Sean O'Malley always fights the cans. It's definitely not a can. This is a big step up in competition for him, and it's definitely a good fight. But I do see that as long as Sean O'Malley keeps it clean, I think Pedro Munhoz is too tough to be finished, but I do think that he should be able to ride clean, probably a 30-27 decision.
You disagree with me that he's like not going to be able to find his way in to hit him?
I think Pedro will have his moments because he tends to get in and land at some points, but I don't think that is going to be detrimental enough for him to hurt O'Malley. But we've seen, like I said, he dropped Dominic Cruz with a jab. He's got heavy hands, so if he does land, it's going to be dangerous. But I think O'Malley, I do think with his reach and everything, he should be able to keep him on the outside.
Fair enough. So let's move on. Just to the prelims real quick. Any of these like you want to talk about? Brad Riddell taking on Jalen Turner, Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone, Ian Gary, Gabe Green, and Brad Tavares, Dricus Duplessis. I guess let's just real quick. Who do you think wins, Brad Riddell or Jalen Turner here, man?
I like Brad Riddell. Dude's a super tough fighter. Coming off his last fight against Fiziev, he showed a lot of heart in that fight, but Fiziev was just a step ahead of him. I think Jalen Turner, just the size of that dude, man, he's 6'3" at lightweight. I think his size is just going to present a problem, and I think his speed is going to be a problem for Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell's super tough, so I think it's going to be hard for Jalen Turner to finish him, but I think if he does finish him, he submits him, but if he doesn't get the submission, he'll get the decision. But I do think that Jalen Turner wins.
I think I'm on the same page as you. Fucking Brad Riddell, tough as all hell, though, dude. So it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the night, fucking Brad Riddell ends up fucking getting like the nod, like just quickness of just the power shots landed. I thought because Brad Riddell throws with fucking heat, and he's got a center block for a head, like so he is hard to finish. As you said, dude, fucking Jalen Turner, like via sub is probably the way that this should go. But if it goes to decision, dude, this could go either way, and it could get fishy if it's kind of close back and forth. I'm going Jalen Turner here, but this could go either way, in my opinion. Jim Miller and Cowboy Cerrone, I believe me and you disagree with this one, man. So I think fucking Jim Miller is probably going to crush Cowboy early round one, maybe maybe even late round one. Fucking Jim Miller just been on a roll recently of crushing these like up and coming dudes with that just left straight, dude. And if he can crush these up and comer dudes, I believe he can crush an older Cowboy that definitely starts slow. I'm going A10, man. Why are you going Cowboy here if you are going Cowboy?
I am going Cowboy, and I think that, man, he's just got to be able to get off the skid that he's on. I think coming in against a guy that he's already beaten before, he's already knocked him out. And I know we were talking about the constant weight cuts that Cowboy's been going through here recently, but he's not going to be making a drastic weight cut for this fight. He's going to be fighting at 170, which is a little bit closer to his natural weight. So it's going to be a little bit easier of a cut for him. I think with the confidence of knowing that he's beaten Jim Miller before, I know Jim Miller's on a little bit of a roll. But I think that with him getting the heavy-handed knockouts that he's been getting, I think that could leave him to have a little bit of confidence leaving the fight standing. I think if he leaves a fight standing, I do think the Cowboy. We obviously know about his Muay Thai. Dude's a super potent striker. His head kicks are, he's got some of the best highlights with the head kicks. I think that he can get a similar type of finish if Jim Miller isn't careful. But I do think the Cowboy, man, it's going to be hard for him to. I think it's going to be super hard for him to finish Jim Miller. But I think that he's just a lot more cleaner of a striker. And if Jim Miller sort of gets caught in a brawl, I just don't think I just don't see how he wins keeping it on the feet.
Man, that I'm surprised that you're so confident in Cowboy after seeing Jim Miller's past few fights, man. I'm just like, I don't know how he's so confident in Cowboy. I really don't. I really don't. That being said, dude, let's move on down to the next one. The future. Two futures on this card. Two. We're gonna talk about one of the first futures. Ian Gary taking on Gabe Green, man. Gabe Green, tough as all hell. I do think Ian Gary gets the dub here, probably by decision. You're just using his length and reach. Gabe Green, as I said, tough as all hell. Going to try to get in on him, try to take him down, but I think that Gary is going to end up getting the decision dub at the end of the night. Anything different?
No, I think Ian Gary, he's one of the guys. Me and you were both pretty big on him coming into the UFC, and he had that good fight against Jordan Williams. Now I know on his last fight wasn't the barn burner that I think people were kind of expecting. So I think people were a little bit disappointed. Gabe Green is one of those guys who tends to plot forward a little bit and tries to establish his control. I think as well another counter striker like that, similar to Sean and Izzy. I think that can set up good for Ian Gary. I think if you're going to bet this, I think you should bet Ian Gary just the money line because by knockout, it's a little shaky. But I think that he has the potential to knock Gabe Green out. And I think he definitely can.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Brad Tavares taking on Dricus du Plessis. You kind of previewed this one earlier in the day. Dricus du Plessis was a slight underdog earlier in the week. Now not want to say a big favorite, but kind of equaled out, kind of flopped back the other way with a little increase, if you will. I believe that Dricus gets it done here. I don't know if he knocks Brad Tavares out. He could. He has 2 finishes, so fucking possibly. But Brad Tavares, tough as all hell. If you ask me, I think Dricus probably gets a knockout here. Do you think he also gets the knockout, or do you think it's via finish? I mean, via decision.
I also think he knocks out Brad Tavares. And it's no disrespect to Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares he's one of the OGs in the game. He's one of those guys. He's one of the gatekeepers that they tend to put in against him. They put the young up and coming contenders against him. And if you're able to beat a guy like Brad Tavares, you're definitely capable of doing things in the middleweight division. I think he's just a little bit older, so he's going to be a little bit slower. And he has been able to get caught and get dropped before. We've seen like in the Edmund Shabazian fight, he was able to put Brad Tavares out the way that he did. I think that Dricus du Plessis, that dude, he can absolutely crack. He's been out for about a year now due to multiple opponents he's had drop out on him. And I think he's going to be super hungry. And his hands, the dude can crack. He's got 2 finishes in the UFC against Marcus Perez and against Trevin Giles, 2 guys who are, especially Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles normally doesn't really get finished like that before Dricus du Plessis finished them. So I think that Dricus du Plessis is able to get a knockout, and I think he does.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So let's move on down to the early prelims, pre-prelims, whichever one you want to call it, dude. The main event of that is Uriah Hall taking on Andre Muniz, and Andre Muniz is going to take home Uriah Hall's arm. Anything different from what I think there?
Yeah, Muniz is that dude. His jiu-jitsu is going to be crazy. Anybody that can get a hold of Jacare's arm in a jiu-jitsu battle, basically, and break his arm, you got all my respect, dude. So yeah, I think Muniz, unless Uriah Hall's just been working on his wrestling defense and his jiu-jitsu himself, I don't see how he's able to keep Muniz away from one of his limbs.
Nah, and he's just a monster overall, just a big ass guy. He just kind of just fucking rushes forward and like, oh no, I'm grabbing you and I'm gonna fucking break your arm. So be ready for that. You may see some limbs snapped this weekend. Stay tuned. This weekend is well worth your money. Some people hate it. Some people are like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, oh, like, that sucks. Hope he gets well soon, but I'm not gonna get into it too much. Jessica I taking on Macy Barber, dude. I had you going for the longest, dude. You actually thought that I thought Jessica I was going to be Macy Barber here. Every time you said bring it up, you're like, I can't believe you think Jessica I is going to be Macy Barber. And I would just be snickering just a little bit. I'm like, dude, you never know. Jessica I, she's tough. Fucking Macy Barber does that shadow boxing shit. We might go to a fucking split decision, but in reality, I kind of exposed myself when I seen you like that bet like the other day. Macy Barber should get this done. Honestly, I don't want to say this fight scares me, but I don't want to say like the Barber is for sure going to finish Jessica I because, dude, fucking Macy Barber sometimes it's like she could come out, blow her wad, and just kind of coast the remaining 2 rounds and maybe get the decision, dude. But if this ends up in some sort of like weird split decision, I'm going to be kind of pissed off. I'm not going to lie. How do you think this goes? Do you think Barber comes out and crushes Jessica I round 1, or is this going to break my heart? It's just going to go to some kind of bullshit split decision, and I'm probably going to lose my money on it.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you right now that most of the best that I have Macy Barber in is on the money line, and I got her parlayed with somebody else. I don't have that straight up just because we know how weird the sport can be. I do think that Macy Barber has the gas tank to be able to put the pressure on Jessica I because I don't see how on the feet Jessica I is going to be able to have much for her. Now, Macy's not she's not Valentina Shevchenko when it comes to kickboxing, but we know when she gets in range and she throws those hooks, she goes for the kill. She's always pressing forward on the gas. I do think she's be able to put the pressure on Jessica I and be able to wear on her to get the finish. I know you can get some good straight up odds on it. If you're betting, just do money line. But I do think overall Macy Barber, it should be pretty easy work for her.
She should get it done, dude, but it would not be the first time that she has let many people down. She's been a bigger favorite and shat the bed. So the first fight of the night is JRC Jessica Rose Clark taking on Julia Stoliarenko. Clark should get this done here by decision. Anything else here?
Yeah, I'm actually still surprised that Julia Stoliarenko is still in the UFC. I know she's one of those sort of similar. She ends up getting kind of match. She ends up being in the matchmaking to where people need to kind of get back on a win. She seems to kind of be in a bad place right now as far as losses. So yeah, Jessica Rose Clark, I think it's served up for her to get a dub.
Fair enough, man. So that being said, that is the entire card for next week. All of our picks all the way through. And as you saw it, all the way through, dude, we had 2 different picks all the way through the card. And that's all we have to get specific on the finish or decision or some shit like that. So our 2 main pick differences were Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. Dorian is going Sean Strickland. I am going Alex Pereira. I am going Jim A10 Miller. Dorian is going Donald Cowboy Cerrone. And dude, I guess just for shits and giggles, if it comes down to it, we'll only put this one in if it's tied at the end of the night. If you've already won 2, cool. If I've already won 2, fuck it. But I will throw Jared Cannonier in there as my fucking tiebreaker pick because we only have 2 this week. And as far as fucking how it's gonna finish, dude, it's we kind of think the same thing overall. So I'll fucking throw my Jared Cannonier out if we're tied there.
Do you think Izzy finishes Cannonier though, or Do you
dude,
think it's a
that fight
decision?
scares me altogether, dude. I don't want to even bet on it, dude. It's terrifying to me. I want Izzy to win, but dude, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm literally terrified about that fight.
Man, I was going to say if you thought decision, because I think Izzy's going to KO him. Like I'm dead set confident that he's going to KO him. I don't know when, but I'm pretty confident that he's going to be
All
able to
right.
put Cannonier away.
Then I'll, dude.
If it comes
I
down
don't
to it,
even want to
do
say
you
to
want to do a
decision.
decision?
No, I don't.
Or
Because I don't think fucking Cannonier can beat Izzy through 5 rounds for the decision. I'm worried about that one shot, dude. I'm worried about that one shot. Izzy's been so confident, and dude, we've seen Kelvin knock the shit out of Izzy, and he's got shorter arms than fucking Jerry Cannonier. Jerry Cannonier for sure has more power, dude, and it scares me. I know, like, fucking Kelvin's a lot faster. I don't know, dude.
to be fair, I mean, I know the Gaslam fight. I know
This
the
fight
Gaslam
scares
fight.
me.
I know he got tagged up a little bit, but to be fair, that was about 3 years ago, and he really hadn't been tagged up since then. But I understand what you mean as far as the picks, because there aren't really too many picks that we're off on this week.
Nah, dude, like fucking me and you are pretty much the same overall. Like, I'm not confident on the finishes this week, dude. Aside from like the Muniz, and I'm pretty sure Alex Pereira knocks out Sean Strickland, but we're opposite there anyway, so it is what it is when it comes to that, dude. So that being said, dude, those are our picks for this week. We got two. Hopefully, I can just win those two in a row and take home my fucking strap. Dorian's got it this week. I guess we didn't announce it. Dorian is the and still from this previous week. He did get, what was it? What was it? 2 out of the 5, and I got 1 of the 5, or 2 of the 3 of the. I don't fucking know what it was, dude. You got more right than I got right. I know you got more right than I got right. Yeah, that's all that matters. Dorian is this week's pick champ, but I'm bringing that shit home this upcoming week. I am confident in all of my picks. Hopefully, I can hit a mean ass parlay. I mean, I also hope that Izzy wins too. I don't know why you're holding up your shirt like that. Like,
oh no, I'm just representing. You're representing your shirt, so I'm representing mine too. You were going like that, so I'm like, I gotta do it with mine.
But I was fully expecting you to go young Punisher this week, dude. I really was. I was like, Dorian is gonna pick fucking Pedro Munoz to beat Sean O'Malley, dude.
No. I'm smart enough to know that the tools that Sean O'Malley has. I mean, he's really good. And I think that the matchup with Munoz is perfect. So no, I'm not that stupid. I'm smart enough to recognize that when Sean O'Malley has the matchup favor in hand, yeah, he's gonna be able to take advantage.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So that's this week's card, y'all. We're not gonna stick around here anymore. Catch me Friday for Change the Cheddar. This is the Golden Octagon MMA podcast. I am Matt Anderson, Dorian Rose over on that side. That's up from here this week. That's all from us here this week. Anything else, man, to our fucking 26 people that watch this?
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sticking around. Sorry we got a little bit delayed on the recording, but so glad we were able to do it. And dude, I'm so freaking pumped for this weekend. Let's freaking go, man.
Yeah. If it's a fantastic card, we'll be back Sunday. But if not, I'll see y'all Friday for Change of Cheddar. Be back Monday next week. This is the Golden Octagon. Matt, Dorian. Catch y'all next time. Peace.